clear the air. That's the clear the air, fella. That's the clear the air. Sometimes you need to just come in with a little bit of.
Put it up to the mic. We got to hear it louder. We got to hear it louder. We're here, guys.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, we're not just on LinkedIn tonight. We got Facebook joining us, and we got YouTube joining us. Yeah, we're here. We're making things happen, guys. We're back for another episode of The Good Life. As always, we're excited to be able to share more around health and wealth and all the things that you need to get yourself to the good life. And as always, I got Kobi here in the building. Say what's up, man.
What up, dope?
Bro, you're not. I've been meaning to ask you this. You're
What's
not
that?
from Detroit. Like that's
Not
a
at all.
Detroit thing. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
You trying to say I need a new tagline? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Unless you want to like claim Detroit, unless you got some cousins or some relatives or something.
I got no cousins, no relatives. I do have Uncle Jalen up there, though.
Uncle Jalen is your guy.
I do have Uncle Jalen up there. He got me falling in love with Detroit. I will say this. I'm going to give this a hard thought. And if you're listening to this, give me a vote. Do I adopt Detroit? Because, I mean, you know, I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, born in Ghana. So Richmond, Virginia doesn't really have, you know, what you have, 2 up, 2 down productions. You got what, you know, what we got? Pharrell, like, is he even, you know, I don't know. Missy Elliott, what do you got?
Pharrell, the Clips, right?
Everybody says the Clips. I got an unpopular opinion. Not a huge fan of the Clips. Not a huge fan.
Bro, you're from there.
No, I grew up there.
You grew up there. You grew up there.
Yeah, the DMV area, like, and I mean, you know, should I adopt something else, create my own thing, or find something from DMV area that I can use as my tagline? And also, what do I find? Help a brother out. Help me out.
Help him out because he needs it. But either way, we'll figure out your origin story.
Yeah, man.
Which you should be claiming.
Still being crafted.
That's right. Be crafty. So we're back for another episode. As always, like, share, comment, right? Go ahead and find us anywhere that you view these podcasts because we want to continue to dive in and give you the information that you need to get your life and design your life to be awesome. Right?
That's right.
To get to the good life. So we're having some more health and wealth conversations. We're talking all types of stuff. We got some more kind of live news that we've been seeing and hearing. And now that it's Kobi and I, we're really just giving you the format. We're giving you the ideas around health and wealth that are pertaining to the current events and the things that are happening out there in society right now. Articles you might be reading, headlines you might be clicking on. We're going to double click on a couple of those things that we've seen, and we're going to tie that back into the lessons around health, wealth, some of the mindset things, even some entrepreneurship things, because we want you to get value and know that the things that are happening out there, you can take lessons from, apply them in your life, and really be able to design the life that you want. So let's dive in today, man. What's the first headline we're diving into today?
We are not wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen. We're hopping right on to America's favorite billionaire. Would you say so? I don't know. Elon Musk.
He's not.
Elon Musk.
Elon.
You said he's not. Who would you say? Pause real quick. Who would you say is America's favorite billionaire? I hate to put you on the spot here, but I also enjoyed it a little bit. So who
Richard Branson? No, he couldn't be.
He's not even American.
I know, you're right.
He's not even American, right? American billionaire.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be like, see, Elon gets the most press, but I don't know that he's the favorite.
You want a couple options?
Would you put Jay-Z in there? Would you put
Jay-Z a billionaire now?
Yeah.
Has he been for a while?
He has for a very long time. Not very long.
I'm sorry, Jay-Z. I didn't really know.
Put some respect on his name.
Jeff Bezos,
Warren
Bill
Buffett.
Gates. Bill Gates.
Gates is not. I don't think he's America's. I don't think
that was a joke. I really hope he's not.
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer. Wow! Wow! Yeah! All right. That's my Steve Ballmer impression. All right. Right. Go
Uh,
ahead, Paul George, score the ball. Yeah. Bro, I saw this interview. I said, stop this. Stop this right now. Somebody take away his sugar. Stop this right now. What is going on?
could it be Kanye?
Favorite? No. Favorite? No. And it's definitely not Mark Zuckerberg. It's not Michael Bloomberg.
So I think this is a loaded question because in general, America hates people with money.
Ooh. All right. Fair enough. You flipped it, and I like what you did there.
Yeah.
I like what you did there.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Elon is probably at the top of the list, though. Would you agree with that?
He's up there. He's very interesting to the American population. He's very like from his talks in crypto to Tesla to just him being this kind of cool guy. Nah, I think he's at the top of the list for like cool right?
Guy.
Talking. But I don't think people like him.
That's fair. But you know, weigh in. Who do you think is America's favorite billionaire? Who do you think is America's favorite billionaire? But I will say this about Elon. I think he is the closest to what people would imagine themselves to be if they had $1 million, which is, you know, smoking marijuana on Joe Rogan, out here looking like a Tesla. Have you seen that photo of him looking like a box? What is I don't even know how. I don't even think rib cages are supposed to look like that. If you've ever seen that, but go ahead and insert a picture here of what I'm talking about. All right, Elon Musk looking like a Tesla at the beach. We are not body shaming here. I'm just saying that's what happened, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if the rib cage could actually make that shape, so I was impressed.
He's super pale too. I think I saw that picture.
He's extremely pale. Extremely
like he gets no sun. Like he stays in the lab.
Yeah, he stays in the lab. No, he don't. That man don't stay in the lab. He be staying at the strip club. You know what I mean? He stays somewhere, but not the lab.
Listen, I know we could talk about Elon for a while because at you right off camera, you had texted me this like, hey, we could talk about this, and I was like, Elon in general is a topic, but like the thing that's headline worthy right now. Don't know how it pertains to the good life. We could maybe tie it in. Is he's like on like 9 children, right? You know that.
Say that one more time. No, I did not know that.
Yes, that has been the most like newsworthy thing about, not most, but probably top of the headlines, is that he has like 9 kids. He just had another child with
the same woman.
Put this up. Put this up with his executive, like a corporate, like one of Tesla's executives. He just had twins with. And then it just came out that he had an affair with an executive from Google.
Wow.
Like he is all about reproducing. He made a joke that said like the moon or Mars needs population. Like Mars is going to need to be populated. And he's like dead serious that like he's just going to reproduce. And so he's probably going to be on his like 12th, 15th child. His dad just had another child. His dad's like 70. So like they believe this.
With his ex-wife's daughter.
Yes. Like this is a real thought. Again, we don't know them.
Bro, and this is, guys, this is part of health. That's why we're talking about this, and it's also part of wealth, as you can see. But, bro, foul affair. You know,
dad's actions.
Yeah, dad having a baby with the ex-wife's. What is this? Foul affair. Obviously, you can hear the judgment in my voice.
Clearly, super foul though. I'm right there with you. Super foul. But the principle of like reproducing, that's actually an interesting concept though. Like,
what do you mean? What do you mean? Break it. Pause.
Not,
what do you mean? The principle of reproducing? What do you mean? What is this? The principle of reproducing is actually interesting. What do you mean? You gotta break it down for the people.
Listen. Not like the dad's thing he has going on with whom, but Elon's like explanation of, hey, Mars is gonna need people. we are actually like regressing as right, like the human population, right? The birth rate's going down, like all that stuff's happening. So if like a new society popped out, it's like strength in numbers. It'd be good to have your genes around, right?
No, I'm stopping this. No, it's not. No, it's not. All right. And I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. If you haven't seen it, check out Netflix for Our Father, I believe it's called, where a fertility doctor uses his sperm to get unsuspecting patients pregnant. Some of his 94 biological children share their trauma in the film Our Father. It is not a good thing, dog. There ain't
Yeah.
nothing good about it.
Well, that's extreme, bro. 94. That 94 is extreme.
But that's apparently that's what Elon is pushing here. Apparently that's what Elon is pushing here.
Nick Cannon too. You want to talk headlines? Nick Cannon just had his 8th, 9th, something like that.
Yeah, but it's Nick Cannon though. You know,
why does Nick Cannon get a pass and Elon doesn't get a pass?
Because he's not out here. Because he's not out here making creepy statements about him being the father of a creed of a tribe of people on Mars. I don't think so. But I'm not supporting that type of behavior either. But 9 is also weak because back in the day we used to have a lot more. Anyway, back to the topic. Elon Musk. Why are we talking about it? So Musk swore in March of this year, I believe, 2022, not to sell any Bitcoin. But Tesla cashed out 75% of its Bitcoin holdings among the crypto winter just months later. First and foremost, we got to break a few things down here. Said he wouldn't sell. Does he have an obligation to tell the truth? What body is holding him responsible for saying he won't sell and then turning around to sell? Is he foul for this? This might be a fair or foul segment here. Is he foul for this? Right? And can you trust anything he says? Because this is the man that can tweet out a picture of a dog and you have Dogecoin 10x in value. How is this different from any pump and dump scheme out there? And how does this, secure or it like help you feel secure with Bitcoin as a whole, with the whole crypto scene, right? It's supposed to be free of corruption and all the original reasons why Bitcoin started. That's a lot of questions, bro. Take any one of them and run for it. I want to hear some thoughts.
That was a bunch of questions, but I'm gonna play this side because I feel like you're gonna be on the other side. I don't know if you are, but
this is not planned, folks.
It's not. I believe that Elon should have a right to change his mind. First and foremost, as a human being, just because you're in a position, and this might go back to what you're saying about him being the most popular, the well-liked billionaire, is because people will take his word and then act on it. However, in all honesty, can't he change his mind? If he said he's never going to sell, somebody listening to us right now also said they weren't going to sell their Bitcoin, and they did because they're poor and they lost a bunch of money and they got scared. Well, he was holding this money on the books of a publicly traded company. That means he has investors and people and boards that he has to satisfy. If they are giving him pressure to be like, hey, we just lost a ton of money because you have all this money in Bitcoin and we don't know if this thing's coming back, what are you going to do? Well, as a business owner, can't you change your mind and be like, yeah, I thought, I was going to go this direction, but it's not looking like that was the right decision. Now, he might not have come out and said it in that type of language, but he has that right to be like, yeah, I changed my mind. Hence what he did with Twitter. I changed my mind. Should he not do that? Does that make him wrong for being like, I'm changing my mind?
Elon Musk does have the right, like any human, to change his mind. However, where this differs and where I differ from you, my brother, is one, not every human out there has the ability to affect the price of Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, whatever. He does, right? So as somebody who's a market setter, I think that comes with a certain level of responsibility because this man is capable of pumping and dumping, meaning sending out a tweet that indicates or implies something, right? I will never sell, diamond hands, and all these different stupid little phrases they say out there. And people are like, look, he will never sell. Why? Nobody should sell, blah, blah, blah. The price will never go low, etc. And then behind the scenes, he takes that opportunity with a spike in prices to sell and make a whole lot of money. Now, where I do agree with you though, and you didn't explicitly state this, but where I place more blame is it's on you to do your research. This is why I don't buy into the hype, not especially that particular hype. Just because Elon Musk says he's not going to sell, that don't do nothing for me. I don't have those deeper pockets. That's
Right.
not me. I don't know if this man is telling the truth. Is there anybody out there, any body that's been set out there that says, hey, if he lies about this, we will punish him? No, no, nope. He can do this freely. Is it moral, ethical, suspicious? As my old soccer coach would say, Coach Power, shout out Coach Power, right? It's very suspicious, right? Very suspicious. So if you're out there and you fall for this stuff, this is why I, everybody's talked to me about Bitcoin. I'm like, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. This man can literally tweet. Speaking of tweet, we'll talk about him buying or not buying Twitter later. Tweet something, and then the price just goes woof, and then he tweets something else, and the price just goes woof. No, what? Are you really down for that type of roller coaster?
Of course not. But he has. So yes, with Dogecoin, he was big in that. Bitcoin though, like this was, if I remember correctly, and I'm not 1,000% sure on this, but if I remember correctly, he was putting Tesla in a position to be able to be like, you could purchase Teslas with Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Like
I heard something about
he was
that.
trying to use it so that like we're holding on to it so we can keep taking this as tender, right? Like I feel like that's the way that it was going. And again, we don't know people's motives. It's kind of why, right, talking about people is neither here nor there. We're talking about the underlying headlines, but like we don't know his motives. I always believe that, again, people's motives are pure. I'm just going to believe that until I know you or see otherwise. So that's why my first instinct of like, oh, he said he wasn't going to sell and then he sells, it's because there was pressure for him to sell. Not that it was some calculated like, hey, I know if I do this, I'll be able to rug pull and get the money. And I don't think he's thinking that way. Again, don't know him, but I would say it's more of like at the height of Bitcoin, when it's 60,000 and he's feeding into, just like everyone else is feeding into, hey, this is going to be good. This is going to be good for you. This is going to be good for Tesla, right? We're going to be able to accept this. And then it goes down. And not that he's on some, I knew this was going to happen, so let me take my money and kind of burn everybody, but more on the, well, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Like maybe that investment idea put my company at risk of something. We don't know the underworkings and what's happening. Obviously, publicly traded company, we could probably look at the financials, but that's going to have an effect on that business. And I would imagine that Tesla is one of his businesses that's a pride and joy. So if Bitcoin just happened to be linked to like his business going under, he's going to change his mind. I don't think he was doing it to fool the people and make money. I just don't believe that. So that's where it goes. And then it's a matter of, okay, like you said, if somebody's just listening to Elon Musk for their investment advice, well, that's your issue. That's the person that's listening to say, the only reason I bought Bitcoin, the only reason I bought Dogecoin is because this single person said do it. Well, we've talked against that forever on The Good Life specifically, right? Like you got to educate yourself. You have to make sure you understand these things. I would buy Bitcoin regardless of Elon Musk saying it because I understand it. I understand what's happening. I understand what potentially could happen. I get it. I would never buy the hype. That's what most people do. Is Elon Musk guilty for letting people feed into the hype? Maybe, but maybe it was just a sound business decision that needed to be made, and he had to change his mind.
Interesting, Mr. Mouzon. But I have a question for you, sir. True or false? Elon Musk is referred to, or many consider him some sort of business genius. True or false?
True.
Okay. True or false? Tesla has, as a company, a lot of resources.
I don't know. I don't look at.
As a
I don't look at
stop
their
this.
portfolio.
You don't look at it. You don't think a business of that size. All right. Well, let me answer for you. True. All right. Right. A business of that size has a lot of resources. Okay. More than that, more than most businesses. All right. This man's a billionaire because of Tesla, for goodness sakes. Okay. So we'll just shuffle that into the true category. But even if you say false, you really think Elon Musk, with all of his resources, his brilliance, right, is going to behave just like any mozo out here on the streets, right? Who happens to, well, I'm buying the hype, right? No, no, I don't believe that for a second. I believe this man has a lot more information, has done or could do. And if he didn't, I find that very hard to believe, could do a lot more research into Bitcoin, cryptocurrency itself, and has a lot more insight, has a lot more access to people that have that information. Even if he doesn't, has a ton more insight before he shuffled millions of dollars into Bitcoin. And thus, I don't think it has to be some sinister plan that he's sitting there with his cat, right? He's sitting there, ha, 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 right? I don't think it has to be that, but I do think the man might say, you know what? If I happen to shove this tweet over here just a little bit, guys, I bet a whole bunch of people will get very excited, and perhaps the price might, boop, and maybe I'll sell a little bit at that time. Right. So yeah, I think he thought about that for sure. Because guess what he's not gonna do? He's not gonna set himself up to lose money. And if he can set himself up to make money, he's gonna do that. And nobody's out here saying, hey, listen, you're wrong for this, you're this, that, and the third, except for me, the man of the people. I'm sitting here saying that, right? And I think it's suspicious at best, right? To swear on whatever he swore on, right? That I will never sell. Ain't nobody like, okay, cool, like good for you. But what's advantageous about putting that type of information out? Oh, perhaps the price of the investment that you own, right? Under a company Tesla that's maybe overvalued, maybe. I don't say this, but some experts in the field say
You're
Tesla is
clearly saying
heavily
this.
over.
You're,
I'm not an expert in the field, but I listen to experts, right? This is the thing. I know I'm not an expert, so I find experts, I listen to them, and I draw.
don't try to weasel out of this.
Right?
Are you saying that Tesla is overvalued?
I've never looked at their portfolio. You see what I
Don't
mean?
weasel out of this. Just,
I,
just
I,
because your partner's an attorney, right? Don't
yeah,
put these type of.
I've never looked at their portfolio. What I am saying though is I have heard experts say Tesla is heavily overvalued. And I'm just considering their opinion. We can call them to the stand and ask them a few questions, right? That's their opinion, not mine. I'm pointing to them, not me. All right. You can point to them, not myself. Okay. And based on those things, I'm saying that Elon Musk, at best, suspicious.
Next topic.
All right, let's make it happen. So this is interesting topic over here. Like, we talked about, and this is closing the loop a little bit on something we talked about last week, which is polio, right? And according to this New York Times article, of course, it must be true if it's coming from the New York Times, right?
Clearly.
First case of polio in nearly a decade has been identified in an adult man in Rockland County, New York. The infection was transmitted from someone who received an oral polio vaccine, because apparently that makes a huge difference. And the infection, which has not been administered in the U.S. since 2000. The man is no longer contagious, and now they're focusing on vaccinations because that works very well for this, according to the article, and has been impacted, has impacted the disease. So the last case of polio was 2013, apparently. And the last case of polio in the U.S., like originating from the U.S., because everybody knows polio comes from Africa. Just kidding. Has not been a case originated in the United States since 1979. So there we have it. That's the update on polio. Any thoughts?
This is another reason to get vaccinated. Are we gonna have another stronger polio vaccine? Is this what we're headed towards? Like, is this?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps we can get an interview with the CDC or the WHO and figure out what's going on. But I have no idea.
Dude, like how much of this stuff is gonna keep happening? I know we've talked about this on the show before, but like honestly, monkeypox, polio, the all the stuff. Like, how long is this gonna happen? How long are they gonna keep us in fear about sickness?
I'm recovering from PTSD, right? Is that what that is? PTSD from being thrown off of social from, or I don't even know what for because I was never told. I just know that I was thrown off and never let back on, and so I'm a
You're
little.
scared to touch it. You're
I'm
scared.
scared.
You're
I'm scared. It is what it
Hey,
is, Doug. I'm
if you're
nervous.
scared,
I'm
say you're
nervous.
scared. It's all
I'm
good,
nervous.
man.
Yep, that's right. I said it. I'm nervous because uh it's their world and I'm just living in it apparently. So I don't know. But what I do know is what I'm gonna do with my body, which is get as healthy as possible. Um and the rest of it is out of my hands.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it. Polio.
That's it.
Polio. Pay attention, guys. We got to pay attention to polio.
Yeah.
So wait, are people getting polio? Like,
no,
like now I'm
no.
confused a bit.
No, there hasn't been a case. The only case is there's only been one case, according to this article, in 10 years. And it came from outside the country. So that's what we got.
Got it.
Anyway, going back to crypto, 3 charged in first ever crypto insider trading tipping scheme. First and foremost. So without going too far down the road, basically a guy that worked at Coinbase was tipping off some other fellows that didn't work at Coinbase as to what was going to happen, and they made money off of the information. Right. Long story short. How does this make you feel about crypto in general? Because and let me give you this other piece of information here. I have listened to other experts who have made a very strong case, and I will admit that most of the ones I have heard are what you might consider old heads, right? Traditional, a little bit older, who have made it very clear that they think crypto is a scam. That's what they say. Like, wow, it's not backed by anything. The original purpose of which it was put out in terms of privacy, security, all that stuff is a complete scam, completely not true. And that's actually the piece right there, based on this story, that I want your thoughts on. Because is it safe? Is it private? Is it secure?
No, not anymore. It's just not, right? Like I have and I don't know. I'm not one of the crypto enthusiasts, but I've done my own research and I've, gotten into different circles and understood how people think about it long term. And again, the decentralized conversation, which is what really was the big part of it, was it's decentralized. But what I've always said, and I've heard other people say this before too, what I've always said was, if it's really decentralized, it will threaten governments. That's really what it would do. And you got to know that governments are powerful. They're not going to just allow something to take them over. If cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, any other, crypto that comes out, the idea behind it, it being decentralized, meaning there doesn't need to be a central bank, a central person, organization in the middle of it. everything becomes peer to peer. That is the purity of what cryptocurrency, of what the blockchain is able to do. It's able to make things peer to peer. If I want to buy your house, Kobi, and I have a coin, a Bitcoin, any other type of cryptocurrency, and you will accept that, we can exchange money without anyone else knowing except for the ledger on the blockchain, and that's relatively anonymous. So you're not going to know exactly who, and
Yeah,
I
you
can
can.
get your house.
You can figure out who very easily.
Not really. Like it's a.
Yeah, you can. You definitely can. But let me say this though.
Yes
To
and
your
no.
point, you definitely can. You're not going to be able to. You can definitely find out, but because let me tell you how do we know this? How do we know this? Because there's been multiple cases, all right, of this actually happening where wallets have been stolen or some sort of encryption or whatever has occurred, and we've been able to find who, when, how.
Sure,
You know, so it's really
but that's
only
where it's at now. Because where it was, if you read, I read a book, American Kingpin, I think it was called, about the Silk Road, really where all like the blockchain stuff started to come in, where it was just illegal, right? It's all black market stuff. It was all like you could buy guns and drugs and all types of illegal things using Bitcoin and other minor cryptocurrencies on this blockchain, and no one would find out. Like the actual like code of the blockchain was encrypted. You could have your computer be in Thailand and you could be in America, or like they literally couldn't figure it out. They had to go about.
what they couldn't figure out is who that ties to in real life.
Right. That's what I mean, though. But that's all that matters, right? Because if you
Yeah,
just
fair
produce
enough.
a
Fair enough.
number, like okay, but you can't.
Fair enough.
Right.
If you are an expert on this, because I'm not an expert, I don't know if you're an expert, bro. But you know, no. Let's just say no to be safe because
Yeah.
we're on the airwaves here.
Yeah.
If you're an expert on this, I would love to hear. Can you find out? Could you find out then? Could you? Because you gotta also we gotta also consider this. Like people were busted
Sure.
on the Silk Road, like really high level folks. Why? Because they made a mistake,
Yeah.
or that you could actually find it, and it's just a matter of you know, them uh, uh, being able to or willing to put that much resources into figuring out who this is. Like, was it just one of those things? Because
Right.
there's a lot like of information out there that they could piece together. Shout out Edwin
Yeah.
Snow, right?
Yeah.
They could figure this out if they really wanted to.
And
So
and again, I think it just makes it harder, right? That was again, I'm trying to take it back to like the underlying why you asked the question: is it a scam right now?
is
Right?
it safe? Is it secure? Is it
Right?
private?
Why it's not is not how it started, right?
Got you.
How it started was it for it to be that way. But like I said, that threatens sovereign nations, that threatens governments. If I could buy bombs, if I could buy something that, right, could potentially harm and you couldn't figure out who I got it from or how we transacted because it's just a code on the blockchain, over time, the only thing that would keep like countries together is their military. Is like you would have no more control. If everything's peer to peer, you have zero control. That has always been the reason why I knew it would never get to a place of complete like anonymous, complete decentralization. So is it, can we go as far as to say it's a scam? I would not say that. Is it what people think it, the purity of it? Absolutely not. Now everybody's hands are in it. Government's hands are in it. Banks' hands are in it. Hedge funds' hands are in it. Like everyone's hands are in it. So now there's no way for it to be decentralized. But it doesn't mean that it's like going to go away or that it's a scam or that it's not going to be at some point looked at as some form of store of wealth or some form of tender, right? When countries started, like, you got to remember, there's people that lead countries that have adopted this as legal tender. So, like, they're not going to put their country at risk. Some of them may, but the majority of them probably are not going to put their country at risk for this thing to just all of a sudden go away. So there's got to be some validity there. It's just not as decentralized and not as anonymous and not as peer to peer as people would like to think.
A few things. I think that's really interesting, and assuming that governments are doing what's in the best interest of their citizens all the time, I believe, is a foolish assumption because that is certainly not true. But I will say this.
That's fair.
Uh, I will say this though. A couple things. First and foremost, I don't think it's governments. I think it's central banks. Because who feeds governments fiat money? It's central banks. And as we know, whoever controls the flow of money is actually the individuals who actually make the laws. So I don't think it's governments. I think it's central banks. And you can do your own research as to figure out how you feel about the situation. Secondly, I think, safety for citizens in terms of what you were stating, like doing that's if you look at this side of people doing bad things, right? Or illegal things, let's call it that, things that are unlawful. Well, not all laws are moral or for the people or benefit the people. Some are created to control, enslave, and restrict people from living a life that we're born here to live, right? That's why you have revolutions. That's why America, broke away from Great Britain and all that stuff, right? And then we look at a situation that occurred a couple years ago, let's say the Arab Springs or whatnot, where protests and things were breaking out, where the only way individuals could communicate were through these channels that were deemed, kind of like shady and like whatever they will. And the only way that individuals could transfer money that they legally owned was through channels that were deemed as shady and whatnot, right? We can even look at a current situation recently where individuals who want to give their own money to other causes that they believe in, and I'm not talking about terrorists or any of that situation, but but let's look at the Canadian truckers situation, right? Where if I wanted to, and I don't even have any to give, but if I wanted to give some money to these truckers who were out there doing something that I believed in, because they were deemed whatever they were deemed, like not right, I couldn't do that, or my assets were frozen. There's that side of the equation as well, right? And people talk about the Silk Road being used for those things, but in other countries, they weren't necessarily being used for drug trade. They weren't necessarily being used for arms trade. They weren't necessarily being used for. They were used just for normal things that were deemed unlawful by governments who were in control at the time. That I'm sure you and I would agree on that. If I want to sell normal thing that I could buy here in the US and I can't do that in another country because they deem that's not okay, and I use quote unquote coins to do that, who's going to call me a bad person, right? So I think there's that side of things. And that's the side of things I think that motivated the original sort of supporters and believers and grassroots supporters of cryptocurrency that I'm not sure. In fact, I'm pretty positive doesn't exist anymore, right? So, and on top of that too, we got to look at other experts, right? I say experts all the time. I promise I'll give you some names. Experts that state that this whole experiment by Takashi, whatever the full name is, that was put out, that apparently just disappeared into thin air or whatever, was actually put out by current powers that be, right? People who are already in power, whether you say government, central banks, or whatever, to prep the people for what's already coming, which is centralized money, but not in the sense of free, everybody peer to peer and all that. No, 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 no. Imagine if the government just decided that it was going to take cryptocurrency as is and draw a circle around the whole thing and say, got it. Now we're going to take the power that we've put behind fiat money, behind crypto now, and that's how we're going to transact. Oh, a la SDRs, right? If you are not familiar with that, look it up. So, and go, if they do that, how is that any different from fiat currency as we know it currently? And how do we know they're not just prepping people for that?
That's what makes it tough, man, because that's a lot of damn planning, man. And again, I guess the powers that be, who said
that's what they do.
Chamath, what's his name? Chamath, the investor guy. He was like, the 150 men that run the world, right? Basically, like knowing that there's 150 guys out there that run the world. That's a lot of damn planning 20 years ago. Be like, here's how we shift the world. Now, is it past them? Maybe not. Like, again, we don't know. The higher up you go, guys, this is an interesting conversation. The higher up you go, the more you learn that, like, the stuff you don't know, right? So there might be 150 people. I actually do believe that part. There are 150 people that probably run the world. But that's just a lot of planning for them to be like, here's how we shift all of it and turn the whole world into this thing. Like, that's a lot. Let's create a fake person that's not even a person. Like, it sounds like a crazy ass story. Like,
hey man, they don't come out with these Bond, Born, whatever movies out of just pure imagination. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, of course.
They certainly don't.
Of course. But this cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, Bitcoin conversation, that'd be a lot of planning to think there's a huge conspiracy around how it was even started. That's a lot.
Well, do you have a story?
I don't.
No. Okay, then. So here, it's not a conspiracy.
But why should we not take the story that is out? Like, why should we not take that this guy, whatever his name is, Nashimoti, whatever his name is, right? Like, that he did not write this white paper for this reason.
Because I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're going to call all the other theories conspiracy, then you also have to, by definition, call that one a conspiracy as well.
That's a little far.
You can't prove that that's the case. All you know is that a paper was published.
Absolutely.
That's all you know.
But that would be the story. The conspiracy would go against the story. Like, I don't.
That's what makes that the story? Who sanctioned that to be the story?
Because there's no other story. Because that was the white paper. Like,
I just gave you another story.
No one says that. Like, you made that up.
No, I didn't.
That's a hypothetical. Like, what if?
No. That's not
this thing.
That's not a what if.
Yeah, it is.
No, I didn't make that up. That was a what if. There is literally, and I'll have to find the story, Embo. You look for the story as well, where it's not just, I don't think this. Individuals saying, hey, listen, this is not something that was put out by Yokomoto, whatever, bro. First, that is still a conspiracy, by the way, because we don't know that to be true. That we literally don't know that to be true. Just because it was written on a piece of paper does not make it true at all. I mean, that's ludicrous to think that is the case.
Not that it makes it true, but that's the dominant, like,
just because most people believe that does not make it true.
But there's no other written explanation.
Yes, there is. There are other written explanations.
Okay. All right.
There's other written explanations. I'm not saying, I don't know whichever one of them is true. I have no idea. But this paper we're talking about was like published on like Reddit. Like, it was like, bro.
No, it wasn't.
Where was it put out? Where was it?
It wasn't Reddit. I don't know. Like I said, we got to have an expert come on, get us right.
Get us an expert on this. Yeah, man. Get us an expert on it, because
I might have an expert actually. My good friend. I'll drop Naja Roberts, my good friend.
Show me the source. What are his or her qualifications?
She's been in the game. She's been in the Bitcoin game for a long time. She's actually one of the people that's going to be teaching we talked about Jay-Z. Did we talk about Jay-Z's
Oh yeah, the little not the little, but the
Marcy
Marcy
Financial,
projects thing.
yeah, Marcy
Yeah.
Project. She's gonna be, her and one of her partners, one of they're the teachers, they're the educators for that. Like they're in the game, right? So like if you want to talk history of Bitcoin and all those types of things, she would be the person. Naj, if you're listening to this, right, hit us up because we need you to clarify some things. We can even get right, Big Lamar on here. He was on the Breakfast Club. They're working together. He's the like OG in this Bitcoin space, right? So there is theory. There is like, this is how it came about, and then anything outside of that is conspiracy. This is not. This is like,
Bro,
this is
we
how.
don't know who Nakamoto is. We have no idea. There are no interviews. We have no idea. We don't know. All we know, but fam, are you serious? This is how history gets twisted, by the way. This is how history gets twisted. This is so, are you kidding me? We have some a white paper came out. What? What? We have no idea. That is the dominant narrative, but we know for a fact, bro, that dominant narrative does not equal true at all. And also, nobody can back up that story. Literally, nobody can back up that story.
This is a slippery slope here. This is a slippery slope.
They ain't no slippery.
This is a slippery slope.
What I'm saying is, we don't know.
Right.
Thus, all stories are conspiracy
Everything. See,
theories.
like, that's what I mean, though. Like, then that's why it's a slippery slope. Because then, what do you stand on? Right? Everything is conspiracy. Everything. We don't know anything. Everything was just written by somebody, and we don't know. Like, everything, you can go anywhere,
bro. There are degrees. There are degrees. There are degrees. All right, there are degrees.
Slope, like I said, slippery slope, man.
There are definitely degrees, dog. There are definitely degrees.
Somebody created a white paper. I get somebody created a white paper, but somebody wrote some medical journal too. Like, I don't know that person. I don't know who did. Like, we could go to any industry, any area, anything,
sure,
and be like, oh, it's all conspiracy.
No. Sure.
Yes.
This one, the creation of Bitcoin, is shaky at best, dog. Shaky at best. Like, we can't. We are not going to sit here. We are not going to sit here and compare that to everything that we've ever known. No,
you think it's shaky at best. No, not me.
Listen, you can hang your hat on Nakamoto's white paper that you don't even know where it was printed.
I know it wasn't on Reddit. I'll tell you that. I know it wasn't on Reddit.
What do you mean it wasn't on?
I don't know.
You I say, this is why I stand for open source everything, by the way. When did Bitcoin was created out of turmoil of Great Recession, distrust of banks, where an individual or a group of people going by the name Satoshi Nakamoto issued a white paper to address the centralized control of money and trust required in handling blah 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 blah.
Listen.
Okay. But we don't know. We have no idea. An individual or a group of people, right? Public. What does that mean? Come on now.
That's how it's done, bro. You got to be able to not see. You have to be able to see that this is not just all conspiracy. Like, that is
literally a theory.
Okay, whatever. All right.
It's a theory. That's all it is. Man. That's all it is. It's a theory.
It's a theory.
The theory. We're gonna carry on here because we don't know, and
we need some experts to help. Some people that are pro and against. Let's get some truth out.
You know what I think is funny is that, like, people that are crazy, like, pro Bitcoin now, fam. When I had mentioned Bitcoin years and years back, right? They looked at me weird. Now I'm the person that's weird because I'm like saying, hey, hold up. Let's ask a couple more questions here. Bro, where were you? You heard about Bitcoin like last year. You know what I mean?
I
I
understand it.
find that hilarious.
I understand it.
With that said, Amazon to buy primary care. Speaking of big company and conspiracy theories,
Right?
Amazon to buy primary care provider One Medical for 3.9 billion. Why? Because we love inventing to make what should be easy easier, and we want to be one of the companies that helps dramatically improve the healthcare experience over the next several years. You excited by this?
No, it's actually expected though, because I expected Amazon to take over the world. Like I
Define
literally,
take over the world.
I mean, take over every single sector known to man. They have all of the resources, they have all of the technology, they have governments, they have every.
You don't think
Amazon,
they're going to be broken up?
Amazon created a product that 1/6 of the population of the world uses. Amazon Prime. Like,
I didn't realize the number was that high.
yes, they have all, like, they're up to almost 2 billion, like a billion, 1.5 billion subscribers on Amazon Prime. There's only 8 billion people in the world. Like, that's it. They figured out how to create a product that 1/6 of the population of the world uses and likes. It's not like it's like almost a necessity. Like, people will live with Amazon. I said this a long time ago. They're going to take over every single sector. They will get into housing. They will get it. They're already into food. They're getting into medicine. So this doesn't surprise me. They are shipping. Imagine when they're popping up all of their warehouses, all across the world. You got people that are lobbying against them, setting up warehouses. They're buying up land just to create warehouses so you can get your, what's it called, last mile delivery. So you can get something in 4 hours by a drone. You can get something driven because there's going to be stuff. Imagine when everyone works for some subsidiary of Amazon. They give you housing, they give you medical, they give you your food allowance. They can do that. And they have the digital landscape, because with Amazon Web Services, all of like the biggest tech companies use that. They will literally take, so this doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me not one bit. It's just the next thing. Amazon will take over the world. They'll literally take over everything.
You make a strong case. You make a
Shout
strong
out to
case.
Bezos.
You make a strong case, and I have no counter,
Yeah.
except for maybe at some point they'll be broken up as a monopoly.
It's why Jeff Bezos moved to Washington, D.C. Jeff Bezos
I believe that for sure.
It's why, it's literally why he moved. He has the biggest property in D.C. because he is next to the government. They will not break him up because he's bigger than them.
You make a strong point, sir. You make a strong point. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, you make a strong point. And quite frankly, coming from a topic about decentralized, whatever it is, decentralized news, decentralized food system, decentralized whatever, money, decentralized healthcare, decentralized medicine, and go into a topic about Amazon is just tells us kind of where the world is. And with that, I'm burnt out, bro. I'm done.
I'm tired of listening to your conspiracy theories.
All right. All right.
Right,
All right. All right. All right, guys. Listen, it's been a pleasure. We've enjoyed it. If you like what you heard, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Send this to somebody who's going to agree with me and disagree with Chris.
Which is
And
no one, clearly no one.
that is not true. And make sure you invite some experts to weigh in on this, because clearly we don't know what we're talking about. And until next Wednesday, where we will be live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, The Good Life.
That's right.
Page. Make sure you follow us there. All right, I'm done.
All right.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. And make sure you do one of those things. Like, subscribe, comment, send it to somebody. There's a lot of options. Check
Yeah.
one of those boxes. All right.
Do something to support us, guys. That's what we're asking for. We're asking for support. Just do something.
That's it.
That's it.
Until next time, keep living the good life. Peace.
Welcome to the good life.